Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Welcome to BJ and Bill, the podcast, a part of the Podcast Playground Network. Please give us that 5-star review and subscribe. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. And of course, follow us on Facebook, BJ and Bill, the podcast. And always, you can email us, BJ and Bill, the podcast at gmail.com, as we welcome you to episode 127.
Awesome. 127.
I want to apologize right off the chute to you, Bill Stevens.
Okay. I'm not sure why, but go ahead, tell us more.
Last week you said, no, we're at 126, aren't we? Not 26. I said, no, I said 126. Yes. And I listened back to the show, and guess what?
You said
I did say 26.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I listened to it too.
So I was wrong. You were right. Yeah. This is as bad as telling the wife she was right.
Except you don't have to live with me, and I'm not going to lord it over you for the next few days.
You mean the next few years?
years, exactly. So yes, it's fine, no big deal. It's okay. It's interesting because we are exactly 100 shows ahead of where I am with my podcast, with the Practical Path podcast with our friend Vicki Wagner. So this week we're doing 127 with BJ and Bill. Vicki and Bill will be doing episode 27. So that just worked out interestingly.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's magic.
It's magic. It's mystical. It's spiritual. It's all those things. Yes.
And I think I'm up to number 40 on the Gift of Life, the organ transplant podcast.
There you go. Awesome. There you go. So yes, it's all good, and yeah, it's cool. Whatever, no worries. So mystical, magical, and whatever that means. Yeah, I know. Anyway, so how are you?
Not bad. I could be better, could be worse. I had one of those things come up on Facebook, now and then. It was like a picture from 15 years ago, and then I was supposed to put up
I've seen those.
That's recent. And I go, oh my God, am I old?
Oh, wait, it shows both pictures? It shows the old and the new?
No, I have to put the new up. It shows one of the old pictures.
Yes.
And then I go in and put on one of the new, go through my pictures. Like, oh, here's one. Here's the latest one. And I actually did one of the very latest ones, probably about from 2 or 3 months ago. Around Christmas time, I hit that one and I compared it and I go, yeah, that's what I said. How much older can I get?
Yes, Facebook has that, memories thing or whatever, where it'll show stuff from 10. For those who've been on Facebook for long enough, you start to get stuff from 10, 15 years ago. And it's, scary. It is scary. Yeah, I know. So I don't have an answer for you. We're all in the same boat, BJ Odom, and that boat is slowly sinking. So it's okay.
I will say this about Facebook. I like it because you can promote things. Like I promote, my podcast.
Oh, sure.
I promote, our podcast. I'm thinking when my book comes out, in August, I can promote that.
Yes.
But man, I am so ready to throw Facebook right out the window. I can't take all the hate and criticism in the world that Facebook seems to throw at you on a daily basis. And boy, the Super Bowl, it was a freaking football game, people. You would have thought it was, you would have thought that it was like the end of the world, and these were the worst people on God's green earth. And it was like, holy crap! It was a little football game. Everybody has a comment on the halftime show.
Right.
Everybody has a comment on Taylor Swift. Everybody has a comment on who won. everybody has a comment on who lost, and it's never positive. It's like, oh, my Eagles won. I'm so happy.
And then
Those I
followed
can
by
take.
40
But it's
haters. Yeah.
yeah, but then you got, yeah, Mahomes. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, the
Yeah.
guy's gonna feel bad enough. And I think I was when he was with Tampa Bay,
Right.
but I'm not a huge Tom Brady fan, and I don't think he was that great of commentator this year, his first year out of the box.
I've said that several times. I don't think he was either.
But the one thing that he said last night that really hit home, well, it didn't hit home for me, but I mean, it hit me like, Tom is speaking the truth.
Which was?
He says, "Oh yeah, all the wins are great. It's the ones that you lose that just pound at you
Right.
forever."
Right. I do remember him saying that. He says, what did he say? I probably think about the 3 losses more than the
Then the 7
seven
win.
wins. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, really? That's impressive. I mean, that's something I'll never be, which is that competitive, that dialed in to say, gotta win no matter. I mean, I shouldn't say no matter what, but these guys want to win, and they're all like that. They're all, 50 guys on each side of the football team. They're not all playing at one time, but 50, and they're all alpha males. They're all want to win. They're all the best of the best. And yeah, it's losing probably, well, not probably, like Tom said, it takes more out of you than the
Yeah.
wins. Yeah. So I
Now,
get it. I do.
now we play cards with, some friends of ours.
Are you the Tom Brady of playing cards?
No, 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 no. I'm the Giants of playing cards.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'm the New York Giants.
You're used to losing.
Yeah, I'm the Chicago Cubs. I'm the Chicago Cubs of playing cards. Once in a while, you win a hand and you go, "Oh my God, that was cool."
Right.
But the wife and I are pretty much the same.
Okay.
We enjoy playing with them.
Right.
And, we play like for quarters every now and again, not,
Sure, sure.
it's not like a big time, Vegas card game or anything. And, like we will lose and lap our way through.
Right.
Oh, they're out for blood every
Oh,
time
yeah.
we play.
Yeah. That's funny. I
And
get
then
it. I do.
I don't follow the cards. We play this game where, the suits and everything are important. And I don't know, but like you'll throw something down and you go, and
Sure.
I'll go, "Why did you throw that? Don't you know that that's what they're saving?" And I go, "I forgot what
I just playing. I'm just here to play. I get it. Yeah. No, I understand. And it's like that. I mean, I am that player on the pickleball court. I'm this, it's like I love to play. I enjoy playing. I laugh a lot. It's great fun. Am I gonna Now it's funny because I do yell at myself, and I think that freaks some people out. That when I miss a shot, I'm like, oh, good, Bill, you know better. You should blah, and I'll berate myself. I need to talk to Miss Vicky about that. Get a little spiritual counseling on not berating myself. I don't do it to other players, and I don't do it whether when we win or we lose. I'm super nice and cordial. Great game, enjoyed it, loved it. But during the game, I can be down on myself a little. But having said that, I'm also not, like you said, I'm not like a Tom Brady or a whatever, or these, football player or these card players or whatever, that it's like it's going to haunt me for the rest of the week if I lose a pickleball. And then no,
Yeah.
no, I'm fine with that. So you're
Yeah,
right, though. I do.
I've
I just
lost,
remembered something about myself. I'm going to have to, if we play tonight, I'm going to have to work on that.
I have lost so many times in life. It's like, how do you keep track of that many? Let's
I
just say
understand.
that.
I understand.
I
do.
think what may now see, now you don't have the advantage because you say, you don't get that wrapped up in the games either if you win or lose.
Yeah, not really.
I'm going to kind of like throw writing this book is like really it's better than therapy, and it's bringing back old memories, and it's making me think about life in general and how I operate.
Yes.
And I think being a sickly, young man, not being able to play sports and not being able to be competitive,
Right.
as I grew up, I'm thinking that is why, even as of today, as an old person playing cards, I don't care. It's
Right.
it's not going to change what happens tomorrow. Okay, let's say the Super Bowl, those guys, how much money am I going to make next year? How many millions am I going to make?
Sure.
What am I thinking of? A $2 pot? Whoa, my God, I lost another $2 pot. How am I going to?
Right. But I mean, it really is more than the money for these guys that are at the absolute. What's his name? Who was that great tennis player? The German kid he was
Borg?
awesome. Huh?
Bjorn Borg? Borg?
Bjorn Borg? No, he was. It might have been him though. Now he was the Swedish one, but it might have been him who said it. He said he would play Wimbledon for free. He said the money means nothing to him.
He
It's
just wants to win.
it's like you are the world champ. That's what matters to him. And I'm thinking, I mentioned that because I would bet. Now the money's nice, the jewelry, the hardware, as they say, the ring that you get when you win the Super Bowl, that's awesome and great. But just the fact that you get to put world champ after your name, is probably what motivates 90% of these guys. I'm not in their shoes. I'm not in their head. I don't know. But, again, these were, and I understand that. See, you had, and again, your childhood, your upbringing, you had certain things happening, but I'm not making excuses for myself, but I had parents, and I think a lot of us did, who are of our generation, who are of our age group. I think a lot of us had parents that were like, just do your best, just try, do your best, whatever. Okay, great. And if you do, great, and if it works, great. And if it doesn't, well, you tried your best. Okay, great.
Yeah.
These these young men that are football players now, no, 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 no. Do your best. No, you win. Winning is, and from the time they played Pop Warner to high school to college to pro, it's all about winning, and they are locked in on that. And I feel that's where their mentality is. That's why the money's nice, but it's not everything. The ring is nice, but it's not. It's the fact you are the Super Bowl champion. You are the world champ of this particular sport for this particular year, and nobody can take that away from you. So,
As they say, a loss is a loss, but I wonder if it hurts a whole lot more when you lose by over 20 points, too. Oh, my God.
is it time to talk Super Bowl? Is it time to talk Super Bowl? It is.
Well, I
Yes.
thought we kind of have been, but we just haven't really come down to
we've been
the-
sniffing around it. Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
sniffing around it.
But, let's just say this. The Philadelphia Eagles,
Yes.
they came to play.
They underscore, underline, they period, came period, two period, play period, period. Yes, they did. And it was obvious from the first 2 minutes of the game, and it continued throughout. And my hat's off to them for having that level of locked in until the coach got the Gatorade bath with 90 seconds left in the game. They were in it, and you would think, okay, that should have been Kansas City's game. They should have been, everybody said Andy Reid with a week off, with a week to think about things, is like a 90% win rate. Patrick Mahomes, even if he has to come back, 90% win rate. Now, and it's like all these stats, all these numbers, and it's like, you know what? Didn't matter.
It's like, I don't know. I'm not that big a sports person, as you know. I watch the Bucks. I root for the Bucks
Right.
when it comes to football, but that's
Right.
really, I'll turn it on for a little while and watch a little football, but it just seems like they just weren't in it. It's
really
like,
did. It really
how,
did.
how could a team, because let's face it, Kansas City Chiefs are a good team.
They were awesome. They were the number one team this year.
And, I've heard too, people say, sometimes you just have a bad day.
Right, but you don't want to have it on the day.
And, if this would have been any other game of the season besides
Yep.
the playoffs, people would just say, "Oh, they had a bad game.
Right.
They'll be fine next week." And
We said that about the Bucks a lot this year.
no, we
They'll be
never said
fine.
they'll. I don't know if I said they'll be fine. I go, well, they'll be back again.
They'll be back
I'll be
again.
watching Sunday.
Right.
But I rode the roller coaster for a while. I go, oh, they suck. Oh man, look at these guys. These guys are good. They can go. Oh, these guys suck. Oh, these guys are good. Look at
Yeah,
them go.
right.
Oh, these guys
Right.
suck. So many ups
Right.
and
You
downs
never-
of that season.
You never did that with Kansas City. You did. This is a great team. Maybe they have one little stumble here and there. Maybe not even two of them. Maybe one of them. Maybe one little stumble during the season. Maybe two. But yeah, this is a great team that will continue to be great right through the end of the season. And boy, they were a great team right up to that last game that was played on Sunday night.
I don't know
yeah.
how many of those folks' contracts are up, but I'm thinking this could be the end of Kansas City as far as
Well,
this super team. I think, some people that have, options to go other. I don't know. Sometimes when
might.
this
I don't know.
happens, sometimes when a dynasty falls, they
Right.
all kind of like start to scatter.
well, Patrick Mahomes is locked in some 10-year contract for $1 trillion or what, I mean, whatever. He ain't going anywhere. He is the guy. He will be the guy until he retires or until he chooses not to be. But you're right. As for everybody else, Travis Kelce, that's an old man. I mean, football wise, and there are other issues and stuff like that. So yes, you're right. Time to change things up a little bit, kind of like the basketball world has been this past week.
With the trade deadline.
Oh my God. And so, yeah, things happen. I mean, and if you're a player, yeah, it's pretty crappy that you were on the, greatest team in many years with the Kansas City Chiefs. And now you're getting traded to Cincinnati or whatever, it's just, I get it, but that's another part of the game. So, whatever.
But,
Wow.
I'm not saying that I didn't think the Eagles could win. Because I thought they had a legitimate chance to win.
Of course they did. They were only like a 1.5 point underdog.
Yeah. But I figured it would be a one touchdown.
Yeah. So did everybody.
Maybe 10 points. 10 points was like if one of those teams would have won by 10 points, it would have been,
Right.
man, that was
Right.
but what was it? 42 to 20? What was it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Hang on. I'll bring it. I was looking before we started recording. I was looking for stats, but they're not out yet. And of course, as we record this show, it's Monday morning, right after the game, of course. So, by the way, it was 40-22, just so you the official number.
Oh, okay. So they didn't win by 20 then. They only won by 18.
Yeah, but that was at the end. It was almost, I'm not going to say it was like garbage time at the end, but it was almost that's an NBA thing, when you're like 20 points ahead and the other team puts their, third string in. So anyway, what I was going to say is it's Vegas had it at 1.5 points. How much money traded hands in Las Vegas?
Well, I know someone every once in a while, but as I talked to them last night.
Right. That would be the boss.
I'm not saying no names. I'm not saying
Okay, I'm not saying either.
I'm
not saying either. Okay.
But he said it wasn't a lot. But now I don't know what a lot and what not a lot is.
Oh, this particular person that you spoke to lost a few dollars on the game?
Yes, he did.
I see. Well, I'm happy to see that our little monthly stipend arrived from the boss this morning. So apparently it didn't dig him into too big of a hole.
Well, I don't think you can use the business account for that.
Well, I mean, government does it all the time. So yes, it'll be interesting to see, and I'm sure there will be stories on that. I mean, the statistics of the game were as one-sided and as crazy as it gets. Patrick Mahomes took 6 sacks.
And
threw an
two
threw a
interceptions or three. What was it?
three interceptions, including one for a pick six. I mean, just so uncharacteristic of him and the team. So and I don't I didn't stick around too late after the game. I watched the trophy presentation and I didn't see if they usually try and interview both coaches and all that, and I didn't stick around for that, so I'll have to watch. And again, here we are recording this show on Monday morning, so you're hearing it on Wednesday. There's probably been a lot of reaction and fallout and all that, but BJ and Bill are going to enjoy watching Stephen A. Smith and they're I'm enjoying. Do you watch or do you see Nick Wright at all?
Who's he?
I think he's on NFL Network. Nick
No,
Wright has he has like a long rock star hair, young man, and he's hilarious. He's I'm not going to say he's the Stephen A of the NFL Network, but it's close. He's on with another guy I like a lot, Colin Cowherd, who was on Fox Sports Radio for a while, and
he's still on Fox. I thought he was still on.
I think he's still on Fox. Yes, he's still on Fox Radio now. He was on ESPN for a long time, but I watch their podcasts on ESPN. I'm not ESPN. I watch their podcasts on YouTube because it's just easier that way. They show up in my feed and I watch them. So anyway, I will be very, very, very interested in seeing the react, because Nick Wright was on the Kansas City bandwagon all year, and he was even talking about how much money he made betting the Chiefs all year long. And I'm like, it's gonna be ugly this morning. It's gonna be ugly.
Well, I will say this now, because I really didn't have a dog in this race. At the end, I wasn't sad. I wasn't happy. I was just
right.
What I was wanting to hear, though, because I just love these kind of debates.
Right.
The GOAT debate.
The GOAT debate. Yeah, the greatest of all time.
Like the Michael Jordan,
right?
And LeBron James.
Right.
For the last couple of years, that has been a topic, and every time they go into it, and everybody has their opinion who the GOAT is in basketball.
Of course.
Some are going to go Michael Jordan all day. Some are going to go LeBron James all day.
Right.
So I love those discussions. And I knew that if Kansas City would have won, then that discussion would have finally been, because it's still too early, and it is still too early now. And it doesn't mean that conversation won't happen a few years down the road.
Correct.
But if it would have been the three-peat, that conversation would have started today.
Yes, it would. And we're talking Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady there, the GOAT. Yeah. So I get it. Now, Mahomes has a lot of work to do to catch up to the to the 7 wins, as we already said. Tom has 7 Super Bowl wins. It's gonna be some work. If you ask me right now, if we're in Vegas and I'm putting money on it right now, I would say right now that Mahomes does not get 7 Super Bowl wins in his career. I don't see it happening. But anything's possible. Good golly, anything's possible.
Now we're going to go back to the psyche of the whole thing.
The psyche, okay.
Now, I could see that this could throw Mahomes for a few years.
I hear what you're saying. I'm not so sure. I mean, I think Brady talked about that a little bit during the game, that it's like, this is the difference between a good athlete and a great one, which is the ability to forget your stinky performances and get right back to work so that you're better next year. I get it. I do. So it could, but I'm not sure. I don't think I would take the minus on that side, on that bet. I would take the other side of that bet. I think it probably inspires him. Now, who's he going to have? Is Travis Kelce going to be around next year? Is whatever?
He was already hinting around.
Yep, he was.
Now here's what you got to ask yourself too, and that's what a lot of these guys that are near retirement age do sometimes. If they would have won, probably Travis would have said, "Yep, we did the three-peat.
Yep,
I'm going out on a high." But now he may go, we didn't win.
Right.
I'm coming back.
Right.
I'm going to prove everybody wrong. I'm going to prove that we can do it again. So I don't know,
Yes.
but who knows? Maybe, come on, honey, let's get married, settle
I was
down,
going to say if it's
have a
if it's
baby.
me, I think I'm retiring and Taylor and I are going to the Bahamas for a couple of months. Yeah. That's just me. But, what do I know? So, but yes, again, that's again how these guys think. They're like, no, you got to go. I mean, classic. John Elway won his second Super Bowl and immediately said, "That's it. I'm going out on top. See ya. I'm out of here." And everybody went, "Wow, he's got some gas left in the tank, and he's deciding to, retire. He's retiring a winner."
Now, see,
I mean,
now,
so
now, Aaron Rodgers, I think, should have went out on top, but he decided not to.
yeah,
And look where that's getting him. Same,
yeah,
same though,
that's
kind
getting
of with
him to
Tom Brady. Tom Brady could have won that Super Bowl with Tampa Bay
right,
and went second team, second
right,
coach.
right,
I did it.
right, right.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Tip your waitresses and enjoy the view.
That's right.
But no, he goes,
Yeah.
I'm back for another year.
Yeah. But again, I keep coming back to it, but that's these guys, that's their mentality. I'm saying men because it's football, but I mean ladies as well. I understand, we're going to get to the point. I don't know that we're there with ladies sports yet, but we will be because of the great strides they are making in all of their sports, that it's going to be the same thing, that competitive people want to compete. They want to win, and they don't see a life past that career. It's like, okay, I won 7 Super Bowls, and what I now, if you're Tom Brady, of course, you get, $250 million from Fox to become a TV broadcaster. He's got some work to do on that. Yeah. We can talk about that later. But again, these guys, I don't think they're thinking past their playing careers. I don't think they are.
Now, see, I have some of that mentality.
Your playing
I
career?
I don't have the winning career, but I have the playing career.
Of what?
Radio, stand-up comedy. Even today, even as you and I sit here doing our podcast that we do every week,
yes,
there are still times that I take these headphones or I'm in, and the podcast is over. I'm going, damn, do I just wish I could, be back on the radio doing it both, and same with comedy. I'll see posts from comedy friends that are, doing shows. And I just don't think I have the stamina to stand. I mean, a lot of people are, because that's what I even told my heart doctors when they said, you have to quit doing everything. I go, you don't understand it. I stand on a stage. I tell jokes.
Right.
I go to the radio station and I talk on the radio. I don't work hard. I don't have a strenuous job. No, you don't get it. You're quitting.
I'm not building skyscrapers here, right?
Yeah. You need to stop anything you're doing and you need to just relax until we get you a heart.
Okay.
So that side of it I understand, because if I could still be doing a radio show, I would, and probably if I could still be on, doing comedy every weekend, I would.
Sure. It was a job that we enjoyed, enjoyed, had a great time. I'm the same. I mean, not with comedy, that was never my thing. But yes, if BJ Odom calls me tomorrow and says, move down to Orlando with me and we're doing the morning show on an Orlando radio, I'm like, I'm there. I'm there Monday morning. Absolutely. So, but yeah, it's, is that going to happen? Probably not. But yeah, you're right. You still have those thoughts. Of course you do.
Well, one thing, going back to Facebook, at least those people, we finally got them to shut up from their negativity. Oh, look, the refs are already playing for Kansas City refs are now. And we weren't even a full quarter into it. I quit seeing those.
Because yes, I was surprised. Here's what, and I was waiting for it, and that's bad. You can tell that BJ Odom sent me some ugly photoshopped picture of Patrick Mahomes and one of the refs having an intimate moment. But so I get it. I do. I heard for the last half of the season, that's all you heard. And then I watched the first quarter of the game, and I'm like, the Eagles are playing this so strong, so tough that it's like there's no opportunity for that to there's no opportunity even for the refs to try to help Kansas City here.
But if you go back to the first 5 minutes of the game,
Right?
oh, look at the refs. The refs are good. Look
Oh,
at the
sure.
refs.
Oh, sure. I believe me, I saw that. I mean, I didn't see that. I scroll in
But
my Twitter feed and all that.
all those
Sure.
people that were saying that, and after 5 minutes into the game, at least they shut up.
They shut up. Yeah, they did. It
Of
was
course,
awesome.
the people that still say, I wonder what the people are saying too that also say the Super Bowl is predetermined. Because according to a survey, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 6 men believe that the winner of the game, the big game, was picked in advance. 1 in 6 guys, 1 in 5 girls, ladies, women believe that the game is predetermined, just like
Right.
they think wrestling is predetermined. But we all know that's real.
No, say it isn't so.
I've been in the ring. I know how real that is.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't get it. I don't. What would be the purpose of having it? Now, if you were going to have Kansas City win and make it a three-peat and make it a event for the ages, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, but do we want that so bad that we've screw with things? And no, I don't. No, it was more to me. It was more exciting. Now, I wish, and somebody had asked me that, like you said, I didn't have a dog in the fight, but I pick one. I'm different from you in that regard. That even if it's a game that has no bearing on, it's not my Tampa Bay Bucks, it's not my Cleveland Browns, it's not my it's like just a game between two random teams. I'll still usually, and I'm thinking a lot of people do this. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm still thinking that I tend to find one side to root for. I like this one player. I like this one city. I like this one whatever. So yesterday, like you said, well, Sunday as we record this, like you said, didn't have a dog in the fight, but I was still rooting for Philly just to break the three-peat curse.
See,
so,
and like I said, I didn't have a dog in the fight. I wasn't going crazy like, oh my God, they're losing. Come on. But yeah, I wanted the three-peat just because, well, maybe it's because I'm in broadcasting. It would have made, and I enjoy sports talk, radio or television or whatever, because now it's not all radio, now television is doing the same. Well, just like with news, but I enjoy that. It's just fun to listen to. And because it's just fun. It's just good old fun broadcasting.
It absolutely is. I get it. It gives you it's fuel for the fire. Back in radio days, I would, and when my father was still around, and I would visit him or be in the car with him or whatever, and my father would have Rush Limbaugh on. For those who remember Rush Limbaugh, one of the first biggest names in conservative talk radio. And I'm like, Dad, why the hell are you listening to this guy? You don't even like him. You don't even like his politics. And he goes, yeah, I know, but it gets my blood going. It gives me something to, argue with and think about it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. So that's kind of like what sports can be, even if there's always a good guy, there's always a bad guy. Well, it's like your wrestling, right? There's always a hero and a villain, right?
Yeah.
So it just makes for a better story. Just makes for a better story. That's all. So there you go. I love it. All right.
Well, that's like even in radio. I remember, I think I might have even told you this before. I know I've told other people to agree with like a morning show partner or, everybody in the group. If you have like 3 or 4 in the morning show or 3 or 4 on a talk show, for everybody to agree with the same point, it's pointless.
Yeah, it's boring.
You're not entertaining at all. And you want to be entertaining if you're in the broadcast business. So
that's the business.
Of controversy,
Controversy can be entertaining as long as it's not, for me, long as it's not personal, it's not over the end, it's not, super crazy about it. I get it. I do. Now, you're never going to catch Bill Stevens watching The View, but I understand the purpose of that sort of thing. I get it. All right. All right,
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go. What's that?
now that I'm old, I can watch it and go, oh, she's still hot. She might be
No, no, you're
92
not.
years old, but
Now you're. I think I'm just going to go gag now. All right. Look at that. We're already well past the halfway mark. We're going to get some. I'm going to refill this coffee. And yeah, you do whatever you choose to do, and we will be right back. Welcome back. I'm Bill Stevens. That's BJ Odom. This is BJ and Bill, the podcast. And if you're enjoying the light banter and fun that we have every week, we would appreciate it if you would give this podcast the 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Apple or Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, it doesn't matter. They will all be happy to accept your 5-star ratings for this show. And if you'd like to see what's going on, you can visit us at the Facebook page. Just do a search for BJ and Bill, the podcast, or BJ and Bill, the podcast at gmail.com. Yay. All good.
are you ready to talk about our favorite subject?
Wow. I thought we had been talking about football, but it's not necessarily our favorite. Okay. Well,
No.
wait a minute. Our favorite subject. Well, BJ, I would say that would be NASCAR because, of course, you know, the Daytona is coming up. That's not my favorite subject. Heart transplant, that's his favorite subject. That's not my favorite subject. Pizza, that's my favorite subject. I'm at a loss. What would be our favorite subject, BJ Odom?
See, ours is yours.
Oh,
Food.
tell me more.
Food.
Oh, tell me more.
The time of day we're most likely to snack.
For me, it's after dinner, sitting watching TV about 8 o'clock at night. I start to get the nibbles, and for starters, just to put add a little to this story. I'm texting with a couple of friends, including BJ Odom, last night during the game. I'm like, I have no desire, nor do I even care about watching the Lamar Odom halftime show. There's a Publix
Lamar
literally.
Odom, he's a basketball player.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
You got one of the names right, but that's his last name. Kendrick Lamar. Wait, Lamar Kendrick.
See, that's how much I cared. I have no idea who he is. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup or his music. So anyway, to finish the thought, I'm texting my friends. I'm like, it's the halftime show. It's usually a little longer. The Publix is literally across the street. Well, not across the street, but it's like, and there's nothing to snack on in this house. I'll be right back. And I literally hopped in my car, jumped over to Publix, got myself a half a gallon. It's not a half a gallon anymore of ice cream. Came home, Moose Tracks. Thank you very much. Was back in front of the TV before the halftime show was even halfway over, I think. And I'm like, okay, so yes, food, snacks. I'm just putting a longer story on BJ Odom's headline. When is the most popular snacking time?
Believe it or not, and I think this may be for like working people.
Working people.
Around 2:41 in the afternoon.
240, not just 240, not 245, 241.
2:41. Yeah, they're being
No,
specific
I
here.
get it, and you're right. It's because you're having that little after lunch kind of slump there. The coffee from the morning has worn off, and yeah, you're probably getting a little nibbly there.
Yeah, but you know, it's usually, but they're saying most people really start craving a snack between like 2 and 4. I'm kind of like with you, like now, I don't know though. My eating habits in the last year have changed immensely.
Really?
Not only what I eat, but when I eat.
Really? How so?
I still snack now and again, but
Right.
I'm not this. I'm trying to really get away from all the bad things I felt I did,
That makes two of us.
like chips
Yep.
and stuff like that. Although
Yep.
I always will have a snack because I take my pills like at 10 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
So I always have a light snack with that, just because if you take my pills and I have an empty stomach, I'm going to wake up with
Makes it
heartburn.
easier.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I got it.
So that's when it happens. But anymore, I've been like, we'll go out to eat
Right.
because my wife, and I, we both, we like to go out to eat.
I've known that about you for 30 years. Yes.
Lately, the waitress will come to me. What would you like? I'll take a salad.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm really doing all I can to get away from fried food. I'll still every once in a while have fried fish.
Okay. That's a good thing. I mean, not the fried fish. The getting away from fried foods is a very good thing. Good for you.
I haven't touched a fry in probably 2 months, maybe 3. But as far as,
That's good.
fried fish,
Right.
I will have that every now and again.
I would fall for that too. Yes.
I know you won't go for this, but I have had red meat. I'm trying to get it down to at least once a week.
Your doctors and I would disagree on that. But yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I got a steak in the fridge that's ready for dinner tonight. So
Well, one good
looking
thing, I
forward to
like
that.
fish.
I'm okay with fish too, but
The only problem is everywhere I go,
right,
and you see, if you want fish and you go to 90% of the restaurants, it's not really a seafood restaurant.
right,
You have 2 choices.
right.
You can either have a fried fish sandwich.
Yes,
Nobody has like a grilled fish. It's all the fish in most restaurants, unless it's a seafood restaurant, is
yes.
fried. The only thing you can get is salmon.
Usually, yeah, that's because it's an easy one and it's a popular one. Yes.
Yeah, so salmon, I'm overcooked on salmon.
Oh,
If I,
put a
I
fork
mean,
in him.
I just it's like there for a while. I was
Right,
like, okay, I'll have salmon.
right.
Okay, I'll have. But I
How's
got to
that?
the point. That's why I'm starting to have some fried fish every once in a while because I'm just over the
Put
salmon
this,
thing.
put the salmon on top of the salad.
Yeah, that's a
I've had that,
possibility.
and that's really good. I mean, if I'm going to have salmon, that's one of the ways I do it. Here's before we get too far off of this red meat thing or this eating thing. The next time, do you have a nutritionist? Do you have somebody who offers you guidance on that, or are
No,
they
I
just your
probably
regular doctor?
yeah, just your regular doctor says, you know.
Yeah, I
They
okay, so
actually told me last time I went and had a heart cath, I
right,
didn't need any stents or anything like that.
right.
They looked at me and they said, the closer you are to a vegetarian, the better, you'll be. And I'm going, son of a bitch, I can be no freaking vegetarian. I,
I
I
I
like,
I I and again, Bill Stevens and BJ Odom are 2 very different people with 2 very different bodies, 2 very different needs where it comes to food. However, every nutritionist I know, including real ones, not just kids who play nutritionists on YouTube. I'm talking real doctors with real initials behind their names, real people who do training and nutrition and all of that stuff will tell you that it is, especially as we get older, especially for older folks, protein is super important, and it should be anywhere from zero point 0.7 to 1.0 grams per pound of ideal body weight. Now, I say ideal because I weigh, well, I don't want to tell you what I weigh, but I could lose 50 pounds and it would be great. So having said that, I'm not going on protein including that extra 50, but even if I go with my ideal weight, which for a guy my size is going to be around 200 pounds, maybe 225, I don't know. Even if it's 1 gram of protein for my 200 pounds of ideal body weight, and that would be, Bill would be skinny as a rail at 200 pounds. Not that that's a bad thing. It is impossible for you to get 200 grams of protein a day eating salad. Impossible. You can't, unless you strapped on a feed bag like a cow and started just nibbling carrots. So here's my question. Next time you talk to your doctor or your nutritionist, if you have one, I would be really super curious to hear how they would answer that question. Doctor, I hear I'm supposed to, especially as I get older, have 0.7 grams of protein per pound of ideal body weight. How am I supposed to do that if I'm a vegetarian? Now I'm
Now,
going to get hate mail from vegetarians. I know I'm going to get hate
now
mail from vegetarians.
I'll give you some examples.
Okay, you try me on that one.
Nuts, very good
Yeah.
source of protein.
Yeah, you got to eat a tree full of nuts. But go ahead. Tell me
And
more.
you,
Tell me
and you
about
also,
eggs. Tell me about
yeah,
eggs.
well, eggs would now it depends on now if you are a vegetarian, eggs is still off, and plus they're like what $50 an egg nowadays.
Pretty much. I was at Sam's Club. I was at Sam's Club on Saturday buying supplies for my Super Bowl party for my own personal. No eggs. No eggs at Sam's Club. The entire warehouse. No,
That's
none.
kind of like when you go to Publix, like, oh my God, they have eggs.
Yeah, 20
But
bucks a dozen.
I remember when I used to go and get eggs because I like a boiled egg and I like
Mhm.
eggs for breakfast now and again. So I'd go out and buy eggs. And I remember, buying them for, two and a quarter,
Sure,
2.75 a dozen.
sure.
The other day we bought some eggs. We bought the six pack,
A six.
the six pack.
And
It
they
was
were
like pretty much a buck an egg.
unreal. Unreal. All right, so wait a minute. So rewind. Tell me how your doctor is going to tell you how to get enough protein for your body.
And well, I will tell you this at my biggest, cause I'll give you my weight cause I can do that. Cause
Because you're not there anymore.
yeah, but my biggest was 195.
Seriously?
Yep.
That was the most you've ever weighed?
Yep. 195. And right
You're
now
not that much. You and I are almost, I mean, you're not that much shorter than I am. That's impressive. Okay.
and what now I'm between, I'm probably about 152, 155.
Seriously.
Yep.
Were you that when you and I got together for lunch that day down in Claremont? Were you about the same?
No, I'm
'Cause you
probably
look
about
bigger than that.
170, 175.
Okay.
now.
Yeah, you look bigger than that. So, not to be insulting or anything, I'm just saying, well, BJ at 150, the next time I see you, you're going to be skinny. You're going to look skinny. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah.
But yeah,
So, but again,
I eat, but they say, not, I don't know how many grams, but like I try to do that too, like spinach and stuff like that, higher
oh,
in
please.
protein.
Oh, please. I'm not, I'm not, I'm not using this against you personally, but look up the numbers. Look up the numbers. It is impossible for you to get enough for Bill at his body size and ideal body weight to get enough protein into him without a generous allotment of meat products, shall we say? And
Now,
it can be chicken, it can be fish, it can be red meat, whatever.
now let me ask you this, and maybe you can help me, because I don't know the answer to this, and maybe you've heard one of your video people tell you this. Now also you can buy a lot. There's a ton of products out now
Right.
that have like whey protein in it.
Oh, sure.
And I'm wondering because I was really into all those things, that have, because I'm trying to keep up my protein.
Right.
And then I started thinking, though, how much processing goes on to make this protein?
A lot.
So I'm thinking,
I remember
really,
that you were drinking that stuff they advertise on TV for old people, the little bottles of stuff, the protein drinks. The last time I was at again, I'm a Sam's Club member. I'm not, there's no promo for that. They're not paying me to say that. I'm just saying. I bought a case of this stuff that was like raw protein. And that was the brand name, I think. But again, it was like minimally processed, only natural. So it was more expensive than the Ensure or whatever. Not a lot. Tasted fine. Each bottle, 20 or 30 grams of protein. Cool. And I'm still thinking to myself, even at 30 grams of protein, I'm going to have like 8 of those in a day. And I'm like, how are you supposed? And again, I'm not an expert on this, but I can do math. Well, I can't do math, but Mr. Google can do math.
yeah,
for me.
but even with a steak, you're still only getting like about 15 grams.
I understand. Believe me, I'm not struggling with this, but believe me, it's something that I am pondering. How the heck are you supposed to do that? How are you supposed to get enough protein? And you can go on YouTube, and again, there's real live nutritionists are like, here's what I eat in a day. And I'm like, seriously? Every day? I'd go broke buying that much food. And B, I don't have 12 hours a day to prepare food. I mean, if it's your job, I get it. But this is where like meal prep and stuff comes in, and I don't do that. It's
Well,
like you can make 5 or 6 of these in advance and have them ready for the week. I love that idea. I just don't do it.
well, here's another problem too, though. If
Mm.
you really like, if you try to get rid of all processed food, you know, they always say eat what's on the outer rims
Outside,
of,
outside, outside rim of the grocery store. Yes.
yeah. And all that food is the expensivest food in
Yes.
the whole place.
Well, that's why it's the processed food is cheap because it's processed. We make
it's
it in a factory. We can turn it out by the ton as opposed to, oh, well, we have to feed a cow for a year and then he becomes steaks and hamburger.
yeah.
I get it. I
So
do. You're right. It is the more expensive
it's
stuff.
hard for people,
Yes.
unless you're rich, to eat healthy. And I've been
Mm,
trying like crazy. And of course, everybody's grocery bill's going up, but
yeah.
my grocery bill is a lot more than it ever was before. But I'm buying food that I never bought before.
You're right. You're 100% right about the, outside rim of the grocery store, the fresh fruits, vegetables, proteins. That's absolutely positively. You're right about it being expensive. I think you're right. I don't know if you said this, but I'm going to add on to it. I think it's worth it. I do. For
Well,
me,
it's worth it if you can afford it.
if you can afford it,
Some
right?
people can't. I mean, yeah, I'm going to say, yeah,
I get that.
I
But
have
what's
enough
the
money to go out and
alternative?
buy it, but there are some people
Right.
that don't.
I get that. I do. It is more expensive. It might be more difficult. And the question then becomes, do I want to spend a little bit more on good food or do I want to spend more on a doctor's bill or
I get both.
medications?
I get
I know
both.
you do both. Yeah, I know. And that's, I'm not going to say the problem, but good God, if RFK Jr. gets to be health secretary or whatever, you're going to hear a hell of a lot more about that we spend billions and billions, as Carl Sagan would say, on healthcare just because people eat crap and they think that's dinner and it ain't. But don't, we only got 10 minutes left to go on this podcast. Do not get me started about this whole food discussion because I'm kind of locked in on that. I mean, it's a big thing for me. So yeah, it's a thing. The problem is, if people don't take care of themselves, then we have insurance that takes care of them for them so they don't bear the cost of their bad decisions at the grocery store. But we all bear the cost of those bad decisions because of healthcare insurance and Medicare and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, okay. I rant over. I promise I won't do any more. I'm choosing to take better care of myself. If it means I spend a few more dollars, I'm okay with that. I am. I'm okay with that. That's just me.
I'm trying to get Bill off the food kick, but here now I have one more
Mm,
questions regarding
mm.
food in my little rant that I was trying to start.
Go for it.
So you're going for your snack.
Yes, at 2:41 p.m. Call back.
Are you going sweet, salty, or spicy?
If it's me and I'm doing it guilt-free, it's salty. Give me the bag of Doritos every day. Now, last night was Sunday night, football night, was a little odd in that I'd already had some potato chips earlier, like the day before or something. So I was over that. And I'm like, sweet. So yes, it was the Moose Tracks ice cream last night. I admit that. And believe me, I stepped on the scale this morning and I paid for it. I did pay for it. Absolutely positively. My body reacts immediately when I put stuff in it like that.
Well, I'm going to make you feel a little better, maybe.
Please.
The people that go for the sweet stuff,
Mm-hmm.
79% of the time, they go for the sweet.
79%.
Now I know these numbers don't add up to 100
Yeah,
because,
close enough.
some people like, salty and spicy or sweet and salty.
What kind of a spicy would be a spicy snack? What would that mean? What does that mean to you?
I would say a spicy snack would be, believe it or not, you could have it as a meal or a snack. Maybe some spicy chicken wings,
Okay.
or maybe, some, what do they call those Cheetos that are like,
Oh yeah, the really powerful
you
Cheetos,
just like put it
Doritos.
on your tongue and you're like,
Right. Yeah. No thanks. No
what are those
thanks.
called?
Well, there's the habanero ones, or there's another name of a pepper, and I forget it. But yeah, we'll look that up. But yeah, no thanks. Absolutely not. That does not interest me at all.
One time I ate a bag before I started eating healthy. I ate a bag of those, and at the end I'm going, man, I don't know why I ate them. Whoa, whoa, whoa. But at least halfway through it was fun.
Sure. It's always fun while you're doing it. Then you got to pay the price later.
Okay, so 79% sweet,
Right.
54% salty, and
Right.
45% spicy.
Okay. Yeah.
And that does, let's go again. We're not discussing junk food and non junk food at the moment, but I'm talking about just people like spice. And it seems like those spicy chips, whether it be corn, cheese, or whatever, those are the hot ones. I mean, that seems to be, at least for young people right now.
Yes.
Like my grandchildren, they love those spicy Cheetos. And I'm going, what's
Really?
wrong with you children?
Wow. I Maybe it's trendy. I don't know. It's just not for me. But I don't know. I go back and forth between the sweet and the salty stuff, the potato chips and the cookies. So
Well,
I'm easy.
I remember hanging out with our good friend Marty Berger,
I remember him.
and we went to Hooters a few times.
Oh,
And he would get those, what do they called them? The hottest ones they
yes,
made.
you're right.
The
I
3
just
mile.
thought of that.
The
The spicier the better. Yeah, the
Oh.
nuclear wings or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would order those things, and I'd always say, well, he goes, you want to try one? And I'd always like, yeah, let me try one. And by the time I ate it, I'm like thinking, how does he eat these wings? They
And
are
the
so
tears are rolling.
hot.
There are tears rolling down your face, going, ah.
And the
No, you're
sweat's
right.
just-
I remember that. He loved the spicy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We should call him, see if he's still into that stuff. He might have matured a little. He might have matured in his old age a little bit like us. Maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah, he's out in Phoenix now.
He, south of there, yeah, more towards Tucson. We had him on the show, boy, a year ago. Might be time to get him
Now,
back.
I need to get a hold of him and get an update on his daughter. I don't know if I mentioned it on this podcast or not. His daughter had a kidney transplant.
Hmm.
And she's probably, I'm going to guess now, maybe 3 or 4 months out.
No, you hadn't mentioned that. Interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, his daughter had a kidney transplant and finally got her kidney because, I talked to him because he knew I did the transplant podcast.
Right.
And he called me and says, my daughter is in need of a kidney. And we chatted a few times and
Oh, good.
we chatted after. And he says she's out and she's doing, better. And she's,
Okay.
starting to, so they may jump on my other podcast and discuss her journey as a transplant patient. So
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
our good buddy
Cool.
Marty Berger, if again, Southwest Florida Radio, was there for years and years and years.
He and I worked together for years and years and years before BJ and Bill was a thing. At
And before I
96
met him.
Super Q.
Yeah, because you knew him at Super Q. I met him first when he was the program director at Oldies 95.
Yep.
I
That
remember.
was after.
Did I ever tell that story when I went for the interview for Oldies 95 the first time?
You got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
They bought a new station. The rumor was they were going to go country.
Right.
You know me. I love
Right.
country music.
Mr. Country Music, we
I don't know
bet.
if you realize this, but I worked at WDCQ, which was Solid Gold 1200, an AM
Yes.
oldies station, because there was no oldies station in Fort Myers. I worked at the AM oldies station, and I
Right.
was there for probably 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so they thought, hey, this guy's popular over there. He's been there for a while. He's going to bring that oldies audience. So I go in and interview with him and the general manager, which was Kevin Pierce at the time,
I
and the
remember.
owner. And I forget the owner's name. And the first
Yeah,
thing
I
I
don't
said,
either.
they go,
I
how
don't
you
remember.
doing? So you would like to make the move, from over there to over here? And I go, you're damn right. Anything I can do to play country music. I love country music. And I actually said, I don't think I could play Tommy James and the Shondells one more time before I kill myself.
And they
Now,
said, well,
now him and Kevin really wanted to hire me. And I
right,
don't I don't remember this, but he said they just looked at each other and went, "Oh, like oh shit."
ah,
And when I left, they both just like, "Oh my God." And the owner says, "We're not hiring him. No
right,
way in hell. Why bring him
right,
over? He doesn't like the
right.
formatting." And so, but about 3 months later, they brought me over. But oh
Awesome.
man, if I play another oldies, just put a gun to my head and shoot my ass. And he says, we couldn't tell you.
Right,
That's even before Cat Country came on board. But Cat Country had already got Rusty Walker, which is a big country consultant.
right,
Like back in the day, he was the king of country radio. I mean, if
right.
you were going to have a country radio station, he was going to tell you the songs to play and how to kick it off.
He was number one in the Rolodex.
Yeah, and he was already hired by WCKT. And so they decided, well, we can't do the same thing they're doing.
Right.
They've already got the consultant. The consultant's already taken. And they go, the AM station that was playing oldies was doing a good job. They did some research on that and people liked it. They said, okay, we're going oldies. And BJ goes in there and says, oh man, I hate oldies.
Well, I'm glad you changed your mind because it made a little bit of difference for both of us. That's funny. I don't know if I've heard that or not, but it's a good story. It's a good story.
And then I remember the day after they switched over because everybody, I'm over there still playing oldies, going, oh son of a bitch, oh man, and I got the radio on because I know they're making the format change and they're doing it this particular day, and all of a sudden I hear oldies, and I'm just what? And it wasn't like till after like afternoon, Marty called me and said, well, have you heard? I go, yes, I've heard. And he goes, we would have brought you over. I swear we would have brought you over, but the owner refused to let us hire you. Kevin and I are going, why? Why did he have to say that?
This is how the business used to work, and this is why we loved it so much. Nowadays, not so much. More BJ Odom history, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're writing this down. No, you don't have to write it down. It's
Hey,
here. It's
maybe you
immortalized
can
on
write,
this podcast.
yeah, you can write your book before me. Mine's doesn't come out till like, August, September, somewhere in there.
There you go. There you go. I'll get right to work on that. All right. Awesome. That's awesome stuff. It really is. All right, folks. I hope you didn't lose too much money with your Super Bowl bets. I hope your snacking goes according to plan. And I hope you have a great week. Other than that, we love you. Stand by for
Well, I
next
was
week.
like really close. I'll just say that.
You were close to what?
Laying some money down.
You were, okay. But so you would have lost money because you
Oh
would have
yeah, the
followed
way
your
I,
son and you would have
oh
lost
yeah,
money. So
I would. It would be like the stock market. I would have lost money.
no worries. No worries. All right. It cost you
Can't-
nothing, folks. What's that?
And you can't stay in that long term.
No. No, you
I made a
can't.
bet for Kansas City. Oh well, my bet will be good if I just let it ride for another year. Maybe I'll get my money.
Yeah, Vegas don't work that way. Vegas wants some money now. So I got it. We would love it if you would go over and leave that 5-star review for us wherever you get your podcast. We'd appreciate it. BJ Odom doing his thing with the Gift of Life podcast. What's coming up next with that one?
Boy, I got a couple ladies with kidneys. One, this is how this podcast is
Ladies with
growing.
kidneys.
I got a lady with a kidney that got it transplanted in California at
Right?
UCLA, and another one who was transplanted in Atlanta, Georgia, who is from Georgia. So I
Interesting.
mean, that's what's cool. I'm getting guests from all over the country, which I think has helped growing. But I like
That's
yours because
awesome.
I get spiritually,
You get a
uplifted.
little bit of enlightenment, a little bit of dime store enlightenment for you at on the Practical Path podcast for personal and spiritual growth with yours truly and Vicky Wagner. That comes out on that. This podcast, BJ and Bill, comes out Wednesday mornings. When does yours?
Tuesday,
Practical comes out on Thursday. When does yours come out?
Tuesday. So it's Tuesday,
Tuesday.
Wednesday, Thursday.
So
Well, yeah,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, your podcasting is covered. I mean, basically, you're good to go for the week.
yeah.
So,
Now, see, I'm telling because the average person listens to the radio going to work in the morning, which is 15 to 20 minutes.
right.
So you've got more than a week's worth of podcasts right there. Don't even need anything else.
That's it. That's it. That's totally it. It really is. And that's pretty much how I do my podcasting too. When I'm out driving, I'll put something on or even if I go out for a bike ride or a walk, I'll have a podcast in my ears while I'm doing it. It's awesome. Okay, great. All right, everybody. Have yourself a great week. We'll see you next week. Until then, just up to BJ Odom to say,
See ya.